All right. I probably should have started recording before I said that first little thing. So I'm going to say it again. So the Wednesday calls that we are doing here are to give you a little bit of extra insight on the action plan that I'm giving you for the week. So you will always get your action plan on Monday, and then this is kind of like your little implementation stop, right? So this is, I think about this as like the pit stop. If you were, doing a 5K and they have the little water stands over on the side that you need to like get yourself a little water in the middle of your race. This is your water stop. Okay. So I will give you usually a little bit of extra context, or if anything else is kind of up that I think is important for you to know besides what I have in that pre-recorded material that you get on Mondays, I will share at the beginning of the call. And then the rest of the purpose here is for you to get the support that you need. So any questions that you have about the materials that I shared, certainly anything that you are struggling with. So if you're feeling like you are just like not hitting your stride or you need some support, this is the place where you get that support. So here's your midweek water stop. Okay, so what I wanted to just start with today, so this is our first week. I had a very tough tech Monday. So I apologize for everyone who got their link and everything late. So most of you probably didn't get stuff until late on Monday. So you haven't had a lot to get into this week, which is fine. You might still have some questions just having reviewed your action plan for the week. So that is what this is here for. But I do not expect that you have like made major strides at this point, like, less than 48 hours in. So just first to give you an overview of how this is structured. So I think it's pretty straightforward. This is a 6-week program. Every single week, you're going to get your materials at the beginning of the week. And that will look like a video from me telling you your action plan, and then some handouts, some resources for you to use on your own to put that plan into place. And then, of course, we have these calls as your midweek pit stop. So the first thing I really wanted to say here and really invite you into is that this is a simple program on purpose, right? So I hope that I expressed, and I hope that the reason everyone is here is because this is the anti-doing it hard way. This is the anti-boot camp for a reason. So I don't know if you've ever like been in a boot camp, or you've just heard of them, or you know what they are all about. It sounds terrible to me. And that's why I didn't want to do it that way. So I like the idea of a boot camp, and that is a structured time where we are intentionally moving ourselves forward in a particular goal, but without making it this horrible, terrible struggle and like super overwhelming. So it is simple on purpose. What I know comes up for a lot of people, because I've worked with hundreds of women at this point, is that simple means either it's not going to work, or it's too easy, or I can blow it off or not commit to it because that simple thing couldn't possibly work. That is the opposite of what I have created here. So my intention was to keep simplifying and keep simplifying and keep simplifying until I got to the action steps that were going to be the most impactful for you every week without also being overwhelming. So something you could do that would really actually move the needle forward without being something that is too much to handle. So the way that I was thinking about this is I took a journalism class in college, like a million years ago. I thought maybe I wanted to be a journalist. Very funny. But what we had in our journalism class was a very specific word count and page count when we had to turn our homework in. And this was for a great reason, because at that time, if I was a journalist and I was writing for a newspaper or a magazine, we got to fit everything onto a page, right? There were advertisers who were paying for their real estate on a page. And so the words that the journalist put on that page had to fit in the rest of that real estate. And it was actually the hardest thing to do, to get everything I wanted to say about a particular article into that page, right? So my journalism instructor actually said, if there is even one word over on that next page, I'm not reading it, and it doesn't count towards your grade. So if that was like the most important part of your article, doesn't count. So you better put everything that is the most important on that page. And that was what I was thinking about when I was creating this program. How can I get the most essential, most critical, most impactful piece for you each week and fit it all on that one page and then have it be something that is super actionable. So what I don't want you to think, again, is that simple steps mean that they are ineffective or that they are something to blow off. What I would invite you to do is make a commitment to doing each thing, the simple thing as it is laid out, and just be curious. Just be curious about how this one simple thing is going to shift things for you when we add each thing as a layer onto itself week to week, right? So as we go, we're going to be layering things on, and each week is going to build on the previous week so that by the end, we have kind of this comprehensive 6 steps that we've put together. But again, the most impactful, the most simple things that you could possibly be doing those weeks. So to be successful here, which I'm sure whenever anyone signs up for anything, their intention is that they're going to be successful. We want to get the results that we came for, right? So the way to be successful is to be committed. So success in this is going to look like your commitment to yourself, not to me, not to this program as an outside thing, but to yourself and to the results that you're wanting to create. So when you make that commitment to yourself and you make that commitment to the results that you want to get, and I would invite you to be super, super clear with what those are. When you make that commitment to yourself and then you get that action plan, it's much easier to be committed to whatever the action is if you've already made that commitment to you, to yourself, to your outcome and what you are wanting to do. So what we're doing here is super upstream. Like I said, I called it the anti-bootcamp for a reason. We are going upstream from everyone who wants to make things hard, from programs that want to make things hard, from over complexity, and honestly, a little bit upstream even from myself. I like to talk a lot. I have many things inside my brain. I have many things to share with you. I would love to give you 1,000 things. And I know that all of us as humans only have so much capacity to retain and take actions. And so I'm restraining myself as well to make sure that we are keeping this as simple as possible. Okay, so the couple of things that I wanted to share with you this week, besides just that little intro and my invitation to you to be committed to yourself and to your results and to simplicity, were just a couple of kind of logistical things. So I gave you a couple of resources this week to get yourselves thinking and shopping. So there is the movement piece that you have, which is the walking, and then there is the shopping piece. Now, I was going to send you some recipes immediately, and I decided to hold off on it on purpose. So again, my intention was to keep things as simple as possible. I wanted you to focus on that one thing this week, which was your fats. So I gave you the framework, but I wanted you really, if you're just like, I got to dial this in, got to keep this as simple as possible, I wanted you focused on your fats. I wanted you throwing away everything that was in your pantry or in your cupboard that didn't meet those criteria, and then shopping for replacements. I also laid out in that macro section quality products in each of those macros. So your proteins, your fats, your carbohydrates, not because macros are the be all and end all, but because when you have that kind of stocked pantry, those quality things, it's less important what the recipe says, right? It's less important that you have like the perfect recipe as when you have kind of your resources, you have your stock, right? So if I'm going to totally date myself here, but I think that most of us have at least heard of this game called the Oregon Trail. This program was really designed towards, women over probably 30, 35. So I'm going to guess that everyone has heard of the Oregon Trail. That's that game that was played in the 80s. If you've never played it, I'm just going to tell you at the very beginning, what you were doing is setting yourself up with a little virtual wagon, and you just put all your supplies in there, right? I used to love shopping for supplies on the Oregon Trail when I was like in 5th grade or whatever that was. So it'd be like, you put your flour in there and your sugar and your coffee, and like basically all of this stuff was just to get you across the plains to the west. So that's what I wanted you to do. I wanted you to start just building a pantry that would serve you. And as I share recipes with you, and as I share some optional meal plans, purely optional, you get to choose how you do this, you can implement that easily because you have your supplies. So you just get your supplies in place. You're not worried about meeting some particular exact recipe plan or meal plan or getting like the 1/4 ounce of whatever. You just are stocking your pantry so that it's easy for you to pull stuff out. You've stocked your pantry, your fridge, you can pull that stuff out when you need to. So the grocery list I gave you a couple just because these are the ones that I know a lot of people have access to. So Costco, I gave you a shopping list because even people who are single or just in a couple or, don't have a whole family to feed, there's still a lot of amazing food at Costco at a great discount. So that is one thing. And then I gave you a list to Thrive. And I'm going to share my screen in just a second and show you Thrive and what it looks like if you haven't ever checked that site out already. So Thrive is, like I say, like an online natural food store. It's almost like if Costco and Amazon had a baby, and it's like it's a subscription-based service, so you pay your subscription, but once you've done that, you get a deep discount on natural food. So a lot of those fats and oils that I was talking about this week, best price that I know, best place to go get those is on Thrive. And I will tell you, because I'm a bargain shopper, I will walk through Costco with my Thrive app open, and I will find out which is the better price. And at least half the time it is on Thrive. So I do a lot of my shopping on Thrive. I also, because I like to keep my life simple, like to, just have stuff come to my front door, less time for me in the grocery store. So Thrive lets me do that. And I think it's an awesome resource. So that is that link. The other piece of that was just the, kind of that general framework of your proteins, fats, and carbs, which you can buy anywhere, right? So wherever you are, whatever grocery store you have available to you, pretty much you should be able to find those things. So I've had a few clients, sometimes who are really out in an area where they don't have a great grocery store, they don't have a lot of natural food products. It's a little harder for them to shop. First of all, I would say always check anyway, because you'd be surprised. And if you are finding it hard, then there's that online resource. Thrive now even has, I haven't personally used it, but they have things like meat that you can get their like refrigerated products as well. I usually just use them for my non-refrigerated stuff, but so those are your resources. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you Thrive in a second. The other thing that I had a few questions about this week was getting some supplements. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully this works. Here we go. Okay. So the way that should have worked, the way that the link should have worked in your handout was it should have taken you directly to this public protocol that I created. So the protocol means that it's a plan that's put together, but I made it public. So it wasn't like, I made a specific protocol for a particular person. I made a general protocol and plan for anyone who is in this program. So if you were to log in, and hopefully everyone can see this, if you were to log in, this is what it should look like. So you should see just these 3 supplements, and I kept it intentionally very, very simple. And these are just things to support you in this program. So this stuff is not required, which I hope I, shared adequately in that first video. But these are things that I have seen across the board, lots of people need a little support on, and these are things that could help you have even better results. So the first one that I picked here is this optimal multivitamin. I tried, again, I'm trying to keep this as simple and as condensed as possible. The multivitamin also has minerals in it, and it has all of the minerals that I would consider essential for the work that we're doing over the 6 weeks. So rather than having you have to buy 2 different things, like a comprehensive vitamin and a comprehensive mineral, they are kind of just together in one product. The reason I liked this one, and I picked it in particular, is it has a really broad spectrum of the vitamins and minerals, like way more comprehensive than most. It also has a few extra herbs in it that are helpful for things like stress management. We're definitely going to be talking about stress as we go. Cortisol, that hormone, is incredibly impactful on our metabolisms. So having that little bit of extra herbal botanical support in there is really nice. It also kind of helps with like just clear thinking, feeling good. This is a supplement that I personally use quite a lot. So I kind of rotate around with my multis, but I come back to this one almost all the time because I just feel really good on it. And I think really clearly when I'm taking it, which is of course a bonus. These 2 are digestive supports. So we're going to get a little bit more into digestion as we go. I'm not going to go super, super detailed into digestion. What I am going to say, though, is that the ability to have the nutrients we need for our mitochondria to work, there is a nutrient component. And so some of these, like this in the multivitamin, are making up for nutrients that we might have been missing. So kind of just across the board, a lot of people are depleted, like well over 50% of the US population is depleted in a whole lot of these vitamins and minerals. It's kind of filling in some of the blanks that you might have been depleted on. But I'm going to start encouraging you to get more and more nutrient dense foods. And as we start adding those very specific metabolic enhancing foods in, we're going to be wanting to digest them so that we get the best benefit. So the enzymes are just to help you break down your food. So when you eat your food, you want to break it down as well as you can to be able to then get access to the nutrients that are in there. And then glutamine is helpful for kind of just building up a little bit the lining of your GI tract. So your GI tract is just your gut. If you think about it, pretty much from your mouth to your rectum is one long tube. So kind of wild to think about, but there's all kinds of curves. There's places where it gets bigger and smaller and valves that open and close. So lots of interesting stuff that happens along the way. But essentially, keeping it simple, there's a opening at the top and an opening at the bottom and a whole long tube along the way. We can get into a lot of trouble when we have little holes poked along the way. So where that should really be kind of a brick wall, we might have some bricks that are missing. We might have doors that are open. And so instead of being this kind of closed off tube, we have some holes. Glutamine is it's an amino acid, which amino acids come from protein, that just helps that to kind of get healed and sealed up. So it helps to increase the kind of like fluffy inner layer of that lining to make it so that you absorb your food better. So both of these two are to really improve your digestive function. Again, the digestive system is really kind of like it's like the cradle of your metabolism. So to get things working well, we have to be able to absorb our nutrients, get what we need from the food that we're eating. It's not just what you eat, it's what your body does with what you eat. So these two are to support that. Okay, so I'm going to pause sharing for just a second and see if I can get my Thrive Market up. It was not working for me earlier, but we'll see if I can get it working. And it wasn't working only because it was wanting me to pretend that I was creating a new account. So it has just been a bad tech week. But let's see, I think I should be able to log in from this new browser. Okay, yes, I think this is working. Okay, so back. See this? Okay, so this is Thrive. And like I said, I just do a lot of my shopping on here, and particularly again, with this focus on fats, I find that you're gonna get a lot more variety in here. So you can browse however you like, or you can search on particular things. Since I gave you that shopping list, you know exactly what to browse for. But let's say we were going to be looking for ghee. So ghee is a kind of like clarified butter. And it's one of my top favorite fats to cook with because it holds up really well against heat, even better than butter. And it is shelf stable, so you can keep it in your pantry. So if I was going to come in here to ghee, here we go. I have all my choices. And you can see what I've bought before, because this is Buy It Again. This is clearly one of my favorites. I buy it all the time. I like Organic Valley. I think they're a great company. You have just a whole bunch of choices here, and you can see your discounts. So like, here's an example. This one is the Thrive Market brand, which I do think they actually have a great store brand. And you know, they're kind of, this is like 45% off retail. So good discounts on just about anything that you would buy here. One little caveat I will tell you when you're shopping for any fats or oils is I'm going to strongly recommend that you get things that are in a glass jar. So this one is in a plastic jar, and it actually tells you right here, which I appreciate. So this Thrive brand, I wouldn't buy because it's in plastic. I would get, of course, the one I've already purchased before, but this Organic Valley ghee, because it is in a glass jar. This Fourth and Heart is another great brand that also comes in a glass jar. And I haven't tried this one, this Nutiva, but it looks like it's also, oh, that's vegan ghee. We're not into vegan ghee, we want actual butter. So that's Thrive. That is another option for buying yourself some good quality real food. Okay, I'm gonna stop my sharing there. And the last thing I was gonna let you guys know, kind of housekeeping, is that I'm going to be starting a Telegram thread today. So some people have heard of Telegram. I think there's more and more people kind of coming onto that platform. I am starting to move away as I can from Facebook. So I'm going to try this group over on Telegram. I have been a part of groups that are on Telegram and I think it works really well. But you guys are going to be, I'm just full of transparency, you're going to be my beta testers for Telegram and how well it works. And I will be very interested in hearing from you at the end of this, if Telegram was a platform that did work for you, or if you would have liked it better as a Facebook group. But if you don't know Telegram, it's essentially just an app that you download, and I will send you instructions after the call as well. So you download the app, and then it's like a kind of a chat room that's our own private group, right? So it's just like a Facebook group in that it's just going to be us. It's going to be the 7 of us of you guys that are in this program and me, and you can chat with each other. You can share links. I can share links. I can come in if you have questions, if you need a little bit of extra support during the course of the program, and you have a question for me, I will answer it in the Telegram thread. So I will go in there every day or two and just check for any extra questions that you have. So kind of outside the support of this call, you can use Telegram. Also a great place just to chat with each other. So if you are like, just want to check in, or you're like, here's what's going great. If you want to celebrate, I would love celebrations. So celebrations in there, like here's something that's going awesome this week, any of that stuff. Those are all welcome. And like I said, that will start after this call. So that will extra layer of support. So I think those are all of the things that I wanted to share with you as we got started. And I will just open it up now. So if either Andrea or Lisa, if you guys have any questions.
Okay, so I've got like my plan for the week and doing the perfect, right on track with you. So one of the things that wasn't on, I saw winter squash, but not zucchini. So tell me about, am I not buying zucchini?
Zucchini is totally fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So like any squash is fine. Okay. Yeah. So the reason, now I know this is like a little bit of splitting hairs. So full transparency there, right? The starchy vegetables section is winter squash is starchy. Zucchini is not. So it kind of falls into that category of, this is a great question though, I should probably delineate that. It falls more into that like kind of greens or like, I don't know, sugar snap peas or something that isn't actually a starchy vegetable, that like have at it. All of that is great.
Okay, great, cool. Also, because I'm planting my garden, and we all know how much zucchini
just takes over. Yeah, you plant like one plant, and it's like the entire garden is zucchini.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then cheese.
Yeah. So where I'm going to say is actually going to be probably like a little bit uncomfortable, but the little bit of uncomfortable is I'm going to give you guys freedom. So these are some things that you pick and see how well you do. We're going to do some tracking, some blood sugar tracking as we go that will help you see your response to some foods like that.
Okay.
If you have a feeling already that dairy, cheese, those things may not work for you, and the way that you might know that would be things like getting phlegmy, getting breakouts, feeling a little bit more inflamed, feeling a little bit bloated after you ate it. If you already know that it doesn't work for you, I would really take it out.
Well, and so what happened was, like, years ago, I did the sugar detox with you, and it was the first thing I added back in because I was like, I'm gonna like legit try this, and I was okay. I don't do well with like tons of soft cheese or like tons of milk, or like I do a little half and half of my coffee in the morning and I'm good, but it was okay. So, and like sticking to harder cheeses and trying not to eat at every meal, obviously, like, yeah. But okay, so that's perfect. That doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. I can sort of monitor myself and like, reduce what doesn't work and keep a little bit of the good stuff. So
yes, for sure. And next week, I'm going to introduce this pleasure concept, and like lots of people, cheese brings them happiness. So as long as it brings you happiness and doesn't also bring your gut unhappiness,
right? Okay,
fine.
Okay,
so
perfect.
You can do both. But you're right. So just for anyone who listens to the recording, and this is a common question, my recommendation is in general is aged cheese, because then we are reducing the lactose in there, and that is one of the things that causes problems for a lot of people. And if people have problems with regular cow's milk cheeses, a lot of times the goat cheeses are a little bit more digestible. They have a different protein structure. So like some of the hard goat cheeses are things like Manchego. Then there's, what is the other one? The like Pecorino Romano, like the actual legit one from Italy is usually like a goat or sheep's cheese too. And those are also a little bit more digestible. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those were my planned questions.
Cool.
So I'm going to take off and go see a kiddo.
Sounds good. All right,
Thank
Andrea.
you.
Good to have you. We'll see you later. Did you have any questions, Lisa?
Oh, okay, there, I'm unmuted.
There you go.
I guess kind of my only question is if we're cooking with the ghee, how much of that goes into the actual recipe? Like, can you consider that like a serving of healthy fat if you've cooked with it, or is there not enough in there that you could count it?
Yeah, so I think it depends on what you're cooking. So if you're cooking something like a steak, like what I've noticed if I'm cooking a piece of chicken or steak is that there's often quite a bit of fat left in the pan. There's like not a lot of that comes onto my plate. But if you were cooking something like, I don't know, eggs, where it seems like a lot of that gets absorbed into what you're making, then I would count it. We're not counting yet though. I will start us counting next week, but we're not counting yet. So right now, are you like doing some sort of tracking? Are you tracking in like Chronometer or something right now?
No, I'm just trying to get to the point that I'm writing down everything that I'm eating and like what I'm cooking with and stuff, just to see,
yeah,
you know, kind of basic food groups where I'm at.
Yeah, which is a great idea. And knowing where you're at is a really great step to then knowing how much you want to change or what's going to be the first thing to change. If you're like, wow, this one thing super needs a lot of help. Great way to do that. So if you're just starting to track that though, I would just be writing everything down without like, you don't have to be at crazy detail level, you know, like if you use your butter and like I said, if you use like a more or less a teaspoon of butter to cook a steak, but really half of it got left behind, you know, you'd say like half a serving of butter or ghee or whatever. I don't think you can measure it is what I'm telling you. You can eyeball it and estimate and we're going to be fine.
All righty.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, I like that it started out very simple.
Yeah.
So
that's the point. Awesome. All right. Well, then I'm going to wrap up the call and the recording and I will send out the Telegram link shortly and see everybody next week.
okay.
See you later. Bye, Lisa.